Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to address one of the most pressing challenges of our time, which is climate change. Our goal is to align our strategies to reduce carbon emissions and invest on renewable energy. Effective business diplomacy is essential to achieving substantial progress. So let's start by setting our agenda and targets for this meeting. So the first one would be discussing the current sustainability practices and carbon reduction targets. Second is explore regulatory requirements and policies promoting carbon reduction. The third one is highlighting the environmental concerns and the importance of sustainable practices. And lastly, the fourth one is negotiate a comprehensive strategy for carbon reduction and renewable strategy investment. All right, I'll begin by sharing our company's sustainability efforts and carbon reduction goals. So our company has committed to reducing carbon emissions by 50% by 2030, and we've heavily invested in renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power, and also implemented energy efficient technologies in our operations. For example, our solar farm in Nevada now powers 40% of our facilities in the western part of United States, reducing our carbon footprint by approximately 200,000 metric tons of CO2 annually. Additionally, our energy efficient lighting systems have also cut electricity usage by 15%, saving us over $1 million per year. Can you please share our current policies and international agreements that guide our efforts in reduction?
Certainly, our country's commitment to the Paris Agreement is a driving force behind our nation's carbon reduction strategies. We aim to achieve net zero emissions by 2050, supported by a mix of regulations and incentives for businesses to reduce their carbon footprints. Recent legislation includes tax credits for renewable energy investments and stricter emission standards for the industry. For instance, the Inflation Reduction Act has allocated $369 billion towards clean energy projects and infrastructure improvements, aiming to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2030. This includes subsidies for electric vehicles production, which is expected to reduce emissions by 200 million metric tons annually by 2030.
All right, that's encouraging to hear. Now let's hear from our NGO representative about the environmental concerns and the role of community initiatives in this effort.
Absolutely. The impact of carbon emission on our environment is profound, contributing to extreme weather events, sea level rise, and loss of biodiversity. For example, the wildfires in California over the past few years have become more intense and frequent, causing devastating losses to both natural habitats and human communities. In 2020 alone, over 4.2 million acres were burned, releasing an estimated 112 million metric tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Our advocacy efforts focusing on raising awareness and promoting sustainable practice within our communities. We also work closely with businesses and governments to ensure that environmental protection is a priority in their agendas.
All right, thank you for all of your insights. Now let's open the floor for discussion on potential solutions and how we can align our interests to reach a common agreement. All right, so as a corporate executive, we propose a collaborative approach where businesses receive incentives for exceeding carbon reduction targets, and this could include tax breaks and or grants for renewable energy projects. Additionally, we can share our best practices and technologies with smaller companies to amplify our impact. For example, our recent partnership with a small tech startup led to a development of an innovative energy management system that has reduced our energy consumption by 15%, translating to a reduction of around 50 metric tons of carbon dioxide annually.
We agree. We support this proposal and suggest establishing a public-private partnership to fund large-scale renewable energy projects. This will not only help us meet our national targets, but also create jobs and stimulate economic growth. For instance, Germany's energy window policy, which promotes renewable energy, has created over 300,000 jobs in the renewable sector and has reduced the country's greenhouse gas emissions by over 35% since 1990.
As a NGO representative, we also agree, but it is crucial that these initiatives are transparent and include community input. We also recommend forming an oversight committee comprising a representative from businesses, government, NGOs, and community leaders to monitor progress and ensure accountability. In India, for example, the Solar City program has successfully involved local communities in planning and implementing renewable energy projects, resulting in a 25% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions in participating cities.
All right. It sounds like we have a very solid framework for moving forward. So just to summarize upon our agreed solutions and then for the next steps. So for the first one, we establish a public-private partnership to fund renewable energy projects. And the second one would be implementing incentives for businesses that exceed carbon reduction targets. Third one is sharing our best practices and technologies to support smaller companies. And lastly, forming an oversight committee to ensure transparency and
To add, we should also look into establishing a carbon trading market that allows companies to buy and sell carbon credits. This could create an economic incentive for reducing emissions and investing in clean technologies. The European Union's emissions trading system, or EU ETS, has been successful in reducing industrial greenhouse gas emissions by over 35% since 2005.
That's a great idea, actually, but we can also implement educational programs for communities to increase awareness and support for this initiative. Empowering local communities with knowledge and resources will foster grassroots support and drive collective action. For example, community solar programs in the USA have allowed residents to benefit from solar energy without having to install panels on their own homes, reducing household carbon footprints by an average of 20%.
agreed. Our company is willing to sponsor these educational programs and provide technical assistance to smaller enterprises and communities interested in adopting our sustainable practices.
In that case, let's outline a timeline for these initiatives. We can set a quarterly goals to track our progress and make adjustments as needed. Regular updates and meetings will be essential to ensure we stay on track.
Also, I agree that we should also document our progress and share success stories to inspire others and demonstrate the tangible benefits of our collaboration. For example, the city of Copenhagen aims to be carbon neutral by 2025, and their progress can serve as a case study for other cities worldwide.
Absolutely. It sounds like we have a comprehensive strategy in our place. And as for our next steps, are to draft a detailed plan based on today's discussions and reconvene in 1 month to review our progress. Together, we can make a significant impact on combating climate change.
I think that's all from the NGO side. Thank you for this business meeting today.